is ours, or was ours back at the time. We increased it a little bit at a rent of $1,000 a year. And that was because Bruce Kelly was part of that organization. But as they found out that they needed a new roof, a new furnace, things of that sort, they were after us to up the rent. And for, I guess, two periods of time, I gave them a direct contribution of, I think it was $5,000. You know, on behalf of the AWA, so that AWA wouldn't have to go into its funds and bank accounts and increase that rent. So the total move is going to accommodate that. We're also, back at the time, we had an option to buy from the town the property that they owned, and we negotiated with them and came up with a good price for them to buy our property in the annex. And also they didn't have quite the cash that they wanted, or that we wanted. So I don't know how many tons of gravel from their town, whatever we need for a road between Building 3 and Building 2 is going to be ours free, and also the ability to use their facilities or grounds or parking or whatever is written into the agreement. So it's a win-win for all sides. And the Academy people are you know, willing to have us stay there as long as we need to be. I think that probably that museum is the last thing that we want to move. We want to get the others organized first, or the annex materials. But that's open-ended, and you know, they're not sad to see us go, but you know, they're good participants too, good friends.
One thing, Gib is kind of our contractor at hand. Anytime we need anything, he does it. He's come up with some very unique ideas that are in that building, and one of them is the storage of vacuum tubes. And I know I could have sat there all Sunday trying to puzzle and come up with the idea he did, but he came up with one that was really unique, simple, use measured lumber, cut it in such a way it's easy to put together, but he's come up with a way to store all the vacuum tubes that we want to store, that are working vacuum tubes that we use for inventory repair and all that kind of stuff. So make sure when you go to that building, look at the tube loft. That's where all the tubes are going to be stored. There's workbenches up there. Those workbenches are designed that will be tube testers, so that when you go and you get something, you can actually test it right there at the spot. It's going to be a whole different flavor than we've ever dealt with before, but I think you'll find it's user-friendly. It'll be more available for members to participate. So take a look at it. But again, Gib is right. This is the last time you're going to see the museum, the annex, as it is and its intent. Now, next year when you come, the annex will disappear. The museum will not be ready. Our hope is that within the next 3 years, we will go into that museum. So there will be a presentation tomorrow night at the banquet about that sort of thing. But anyway, there's a lot of scheduling. We're going to have a fund drive, by the way, to help out with the museum. That will be starting fairly quickly. And you'll probably see something that will be in the journal. It'll start to mention it in the journal, and probably by the next time, the next journal after that will have more prominent information about the fund drive for the museum. Okay? But we also have some basic plans that will be available, that we'll be able to show people, and I think tomorrow night would be a better venue for that. Okay? But anyway, there's a lot happening.
Tom, can you give us a concise mission statement for the new organization?
Well, to myself, that it's going to be very similar to the old organization. And in discussing it in both separate board meetings, we made a great effort to maintain the value to the AWA membership. And and one of the values was the review, and that was talked about a little while ago. But we didn't want to lose anything in the recombination, and I think we certainly are going to gain in terms of museum space and things like that, but we want to maintain what has been there before. We're preservation, we're restoration, and we're preserving and educating history of radio. We'll probably add some more modern concepts to it. We already have in the museum of the first practical cell phones and some of these kind of things. We can't just stick in the spark age, but it would be very much, you know, like we've done, only that we'll have more room to do it in, and hopefully more activity, more distribution of the things like the review and the OTB. We may want to get copies that go out into universities or schools or engineering schools that we might supply to libraries to enhance that. So that's basically it, and we're going to have to do some fundraising, obviously, down the road. But we did preserve the integrity of our investment in the annex, and that will be helpful in terms of the move. But
one of the things that respond to the mission statement that you've asked for, when the consolidation was put together, we wanted to preserve what was known as the club activities. So as part of the organization right now is a separate committee, and that committee is headed by Richard Knighting, and that is Membership Services Committee. That committee basically took the club activities, and now it's under one organization called Membership Services. Membership Services is basically the journal, the meets, whether it's this convention or the spring meets or other activities that we're involved in, okay? Those are under Membership Services, as well as all the participation that goes back and forth from the organization to membership, okay? So,
any other questions?
Yeah, we got some.
Yeah, a couple of things that I've just thought about at one time or another. It seems to me that any deaccession from the museum should be done through the annual auction here. And that would give all the members a chance for it, or even maybe a separate auction, I don't know, you know. Rather than, I think some of it's done at the spring meet and so forth, which is basically a local meet, and will always be a local meet, I would think. The other thing is, and I really never spent much time after on it, after Tom Pereira's presentation yesterday, I went and just went through the whole website, and I'd never done it, never needed to do it because I get the journal, the OTB and so forth, and it's really great. And now I just wonder if there's some way we could think of starting to drive people to that website, like QRZ, which is the ham radio. Look up somebody's call, gets a huge number of hits. Is there any way, and I don't know how to do it, you do it cute, you say, want to see something neat, go to this website, or whether you know, whatever, however you do it. And then you mentioned libraries, engineering schools, I don't, you know, but it seems to me everything's electronic now, and we've got to really encompass it to get additional members.
I'm glad you brought that up. Bob is one of the members that basically, his job every Tuesday is he scans every photograph or important document that we have. That's being put in a database in time. Okay, and it won't be long. The entire database of photographs, documents,